Hi, my fellow learner. My name is Derek Tsai. Today I want to review this Teaming with Nutrient books by Organic Gardener Guides to Optimizing Plant Nutrition by Jeff Lowenfels. As a follow-on to my Teaming with Micro books, I decided to dive into to learn about the biology behind the plants. And boy, there were a lot of biology that I got. First, the book is very beautifully done. A lot of classy pictures. However, the science was way over my head. Honestly, I read this book for a week to help with my jet lag during my travel to Asia. Was very effective in putting me to sleep when I couldn't fall asleep because of the jet lag. However, I did learn something from it. Mainly, the plant is really full of miracle of life. There are the cells, the DNA, the survival mechanism. The theme is the same as for all the living things on Earth. Plants are equipped with the magic recipes to sustain themselves and to thrive. The general recipes are described in great details in this book. The first 3 chapters are the most difficult barrier to finish the book because it really involves the science, the biology of the plants. It gets pretty boring. Many times I wanted to just put down the book and give it up. But I kept going back probably because I needed a sleep. I'm not sure if one must, I'm not sure if you need to go through all 3 chapters to learn about how the plant consume and digest the nutrients. But I suppose they do pave the foundation for the latter chapters. The reward were at the end, how to use the fertilizer to provide the nutrients and why. Most of the gardening books will not cover to explain why you need the NPK or nitrogen and potassium and phosphorus. But this book achieved its objective, educating the reader on what the plants eat and why. So for occasional gardener, this book is really not necessary, but for the hardcore gardener who are very interested in knowing the science, the biology behind the seemingly benign gardening without taking on the agricultural degree, this book could be for you, could serve well. So let me go through a summary of the book. The first 3 chapters, the first chapter started with the basic elements of the plant cells. You can probably learn a lot in the middle school. You can go back to my learnbyblogging.com. In the link below, I will have a more diagram which I capture from the web. You can learn more. But the key structures of the cell wall, the aquaporin, which is a protein that assists in the water transport, the cytoplasm, there's all the stuff inside a plant cell except for the nucleus. Mitochondria, which is a power generator, produce energy from the sugar made from the photosynthesis. And the chloroplast, which is one of the 3 plastids, or the soul. I kind of consider it a solar cell. So it looks like a solar cell. Absorbs the light and converts the CO2 and H2O to sugars and starch. There are ribosome, Golgi, apparatus, and you can read all that stuff in the book. That's just the chapter 1. Now, chapter 2 covers the basic chemistries. A lot of chemical reaction happen in the plant, mostly exchanging electrons, and talk about oxidation that loses electrons, and reduction actually gains electrons, kind of the counterintuitive. And there's ATP that serves as a currency of energy in plant cells to link chains of molecules during the photosynthesis. Makes protein change shape, break apart water, etc., etc. Enzymes are a very critical element. The protein catalyst increase and decrease the rate of the chemical reaction. And the diffusion, which is high concentration to low concentration, and osmosis, which is a diffusion of water, the movement of water from low solutes to high solutes. Also versus active transport, which is the plant will have to spend energy to move against the concentration gradients. And so that's covered in chapter 2. And chapter 3, there's a science behind the plant nutrient. There are 4 groups of plant cells. The meristemic, which is generic, undifferentiated, and vascular, all the plumbing pipes. And there's dermal, which is provide protection, almost like a skin. Specialized dermal cells is the root hair. And the ground, also made up of a bulk of the plant body. So, and then there's stomata, which is the leaf pores that let in the CO2 and let out the H2O, evaporation of the water, which draws the water in like a capillary action. And the plants forms a symbiotic relationship with the specialized nitrogen-fixing bacteria, mycorrhizal fungi, and the partnership are really the key to the uptake of the nutrients by the plants. Okay, why does the water enter the plants? Basically through osmosis, and then the sap will flow from the phloem to the roots where the sugars are stored for the winter. In the spring, the sap nutrient will move from the roots up through the xylems and to the top of the to all the different areas of the plant. There are 2 types of dermal cells in the plant: epidermis and peridermis. One is on plants, one is on woody plants. And the typical leaf, it consists of a leaf blade, lamina, the petiole, and which is the joint, the stalk attached the leaf to the stem, and there's a leaf axial. So a lot of technical terms if you're into the plants. And then there's a root cap cells that help build the mucilage that lubricates the root and the soil. So mucilage is a mixture of the root tips and exudates from the root tips and the microbial population and byproducts. Okay, there's a lot of technical terms. You might want to go to my my website or read a book if you're interested knowing more details. Okay, and then the chapter 4 covers the nutrient, the macronutrients, and micronutrients. I'm sorry, the macronutrients are the carbon dioxide, the water, and there are some in the mineral form such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. And the micronutrients, which we only need it in a small trace amount, or we call it trace elements, obtained from the soil, such as the boron, the chlorine, the copper, the iron, the manganese, the zinc, the molybdenum, and nickel. So there are total only 17 elements are needed to sustain life, including ours. And nitrogen is the backbone of the amino acids, the structural building blocks of protein. No nitrogen and no proteins, that means no life forms. So 78% of the atmosphere is made of nitrogen, but it's not usable by the plants. Nitrogen-fixing organisms are needed, such as Rhizobia and Frankia. These are bacteria that will convert ammonia form, and which is from decomposed organic material to nitrite and nitrate. So I have there's a diagram of the nitrogen cycles that came from Wikipedia. Okay, and that same thing is in the book. And there's mobility of the nutrients: nitrogen, potassium, calcium, magnesium, they are more mobile than copper, iron, manganese, and nickel and zinc. So if you have deficiency on the mobile nutrients, most likely will show up in the symptom in the older leaves. The older leaves will show the deficiency because the nutrient has moved to the new plants, the new growth. Okay, and then chapter 5 covers the water movement. There are apoplastic pathway, which is a porous space between the cellular fibers of the cell walls, and then the symplastic pathway. Okay, and a lot of the chapter material actually repeated from the previous chapters. On chapter 6, it covers the nutrient movement through the plants. There are four ways that you can get the nutrient to the root. One is interception, which is accidental contacts. Mass flow, which is like a sponge effect of the root that would soak up the nitrate. Diffusion, which is nutrient ions will move from low concentration to move toward the low concentration near the root, because the root soak up all the nutrients. And there's a microbia partners such as mycorrhizal, mycorrhizal fungi, and because it's seduced by the root, exudes of lipids and carbon-based materials, molecules. There's active, there are passive transport methods, etc. So you can read my summary. And then chapter 7 covers the molecules of life. There's amino acids. The molecules of life are includes the carbohydrates, the proteins, and those are the ones that make up the cells, and lipids and enzymes. Okay, that's chapter 7. Then chapter 8 talk about soil testing. You know, they highly recommend you do that if you want to know what your soil is made of or have more of. And chapter 9 covers the effect, the nutrient, the factors that influence the nutrient availability, which are temperatures, pH level, and soil aeration, mineral organic composition, and soil moisture. Okay, there's a graph, a diagram of what kind of nutrient prefer what kind of pH level. Then chapter 10 cover what and when to feed the plants. Okay, you can use different fertilizer for different type of purpose. Okay, so that's about it. That summarizes the entire book. I kind of skip a lot of the details, but you know, feel free to look into the my blog and find out what the book is all about, or feel free to read a book, of course. Where's the book? Oh, here's a book, Teeming with Nutrients and the Organic Gardener's Guides to Optimizing the Plant Nutrient. It's recommended if you are a hardcore gardener. If you're just a part-time gardener, I don't think it's really necessary to read this book. Don't think you're going to get much out of it. Okay, that's it. Please look into my other other blogs to find out more about the books that I have read or reviewed and summarized. Thank you very much.